Everything I've been through, am going through, and will go through has just been a blessing in disguise and paving the way for Jasmine Lynn Enterprises to be known around the world. I'm an author, speaker, minister, Black mental health matters advocate, and God's voice for the millennial generation. I am Jasmine Lynn Pope, and I am turning my wildest dreams into the greatest reality. Hey everybody, it is your girl Jasmine Lynn Pope of Jasmine Lynn Enterprises, and we are back for another Saturday episode of Purpose Talk. You don't really see me live. I just wanted to come on and share some thoughts before we get into the heart of the show today. And so I'm recording this and just putting up a little message, just letting you know that I'm here, and I am thankful for each and every person who tunes in every week to hear what I have to say. You could spend your time doing so many other things, but you're here tuned into your girl, and I am so grateful. We've got some, once again, I think I said it a couple episodes, I have some announcements that are coming, and I'm so excited and so ready to share them, but I want to make sure I do it at the right time. And so I'm getting all of that good stuff together. So make sure that you keep tuning in each and every Saturday. Tell your friends, tell your family, because we've got some big news coming. This 3 years has been so amazing, and I just can't wait to see what's gonna happen in year 4. And so we are definitely taking it to another level, doing great things, walking in purpose. And so I just want to be an encouragement to anybody who's listening, anyone you may share this with, that you can make it outside of all the doubters, the haters, the naysayers, even the voices within your own mind that tell you you can't do it, because sometimes it's not other people that are getting to us. Sometimes it's us. We get in our own head and we stop ourselves. We doubt ourselves. We minimize our worth and our value. But you can, you will, you shall make it. And so I just wanted to give that little plug right there, that we are all going to be walking in purpose, because that's the point of Purpose Talk, right? So before we get into today's episode, which is a throwback message that I want to share with you all, I wanted to come on again, as we talked last week about National Suicide Prevention Month. It is so imperative that we bring awareness to this topic, especially in the African American community, because we don't always take suicide serious. We don't understand all of the symptoms and the reasons behind it. And so I want to bring awareness to that. Like I said, especially given in this time with so many things going on in our world, we have to pay attention to it, and particularly pay attention to it with our youth. Our youth they're the next generation. They are not even the next generation, they're generation now, because we are preparing them for where they are going to be leading us and taking us to in the future. We're preparing them to walk fully in their purpose, believing in themselves, believing in God, that God can use them no matter what. And I believe that oftentimes we miss the cries of our youth. One of the things I hear often is, I just don't understand. I don't feel like she's really, she's going through anything, or he's going through anything. They've got good parents, and we've got good jobs, and we give them a good life, and all of those different things. But that does not stop any person, but especially a child, from maybe having suicidal thoughts. Our children are experiencing way more than we have experienced in our lives. They have access to so much information, more information that we had when we were growing up, as well as they have so many different media outlets to be involved in, and just with, internet bullying, and then the comparison of yourself to others, because, some kids don't get to have Jordan, some kids don't get to get name brand clothes, and they get made fun of, and that can make them feel as if they're worthless and not valued because they don't have those things. And that can lead to those negative thoughts that could potentially lead to suicidal ideation, and, a child actually committing suicide. And so I think it's time that we definitely take it seriously, because it's not just automatically going to go away. I will tell people all the time, yes, I am a proponent of prayer. I believe in God. I believe that He's a healer. I believe He's a miracle worker. I believe He can change anything at the drop of a dime. But we have to utilize the resources that He gave us in the natural as well to be able to combat mental health, mental illness, suicidal thoughts, and suicide attempts, and all of that stuff. I don't believe that He gave us counselors and pastoral counselors, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, any of that to not be of assistance to the people who need the services for the various reasons. And so yes, we can pray. Yes, we can, go to church and lay hands and all of that, but we also have to target it in the natural. We have to utilize what God has given us outside of the four walls of the church to be able to assist people with getting better. So let me drop some statistics real quick on you. Teen suicide rates are increasing. As I said before, suicide is the second leading cause of death among 10 to 34-year-olds. 10 to 34-year-olds, and even younger than that. But that's the statistic that was given. And so, once again, we need to be aware of what's going on. We have to dispel the myths that surround suicide, especially for our young people. A lot of times we hear that, suicide is a white people thing. Suicide has no race boundaries. It's across all races, all ages, all genders, sexual orientations, all of that. So we cannot minimize it to one particular thing. It's happening, and we need to take action against that. So, what are our solutions? Once again, we have to promote good mental health in our children, not waiting until they're 18 and over to talk about therapy. Therapy is a good thing for our children to be involved in. It gives them a space where they can share their voices, where they can be heard, where they won't be judged. Maybe they feel it's something they can't share with their parents. It is something that we can definitely give to all of our children. So don't minimize that. If your child is saying they want to speak to a counselor or a therapist, give them that opportunity. There are ways to be able to finance that without breaking the bank. And I will, put some of those resources in the comment section of all of the different platforms. But you have community mental health centers. You have those of us who are in private practice that offer sliding scale. Sometimes they may even offer very free or minimal cost services if you're willing to allow your child to see an intern that is under the supervision of a licensed professional. So there are definitely options to be able to give your children. One of the tools that we utilize a lot in counseling and therapy is journaling. That can be a great way for your child to be able to express themselves. But one of the things that I hear often is that children don't want to express themselves in journals because they feel like they're going to get in trouble for the things that they say. And maybe that's, holding them back, and being able to keep all of those thoughts in just fuels a lot of negative things that could cycle and happen and ultimately lead into suicide. So giving your child safe spaces to share where they won't get in trouble, where they won't feel judged, where they won't feel like, if I, tell mom I was smoking because X, Y, and Z was happening to me, that I'm not going to get a whooping or get grounded and have my cell phone taken. So just being able to promote positive, healthy communication and dialogue about issues that our children are facing, and like I said, journaling can be a tool that is used in that, but ultimately reaching out for help. And once again, we can combine the spiritual and the natural together and be able to make powerful change for not only our youth, but for every generation, for every person that may be dealing with the issue of suicidal ideation or have attempted suicide. So just wanted to come on and bring those quick facts to you all. Now we are going to get into the next part of the episode. This is a speech that I recorded for a podcast with my brother Manassas May on his podcast, and I want to share it because I think it ties into this topic of suicide and how we all kind of deal with insecurities within ourselves, and so how we can change and deal with those insecurities and become secure in God to lead us through to our purpose. So we're going to shift over. I hope that you enjoy the message, and I'll be back at the end of the show.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jasmine Pope. I am from Toledo, Ohio, and I am excited to be a part of the Everyday Life podcast, hosted by my friend and my brother, Manny May. And I'm excited to be sharing on this special topic of the insecurities of me. For those of you who don't know me, like I said, I'm Jasmine from Toledo, Ohio. I am the CEO of Jasmine Lynn Enterprises, which encompasses my own personal brand, Blessings in Disguise, which was my first brand, where I do private practice mental health therapy as well as life coaching services. And then I'm also the host of the Pretty Powerful Purposeful Conference, which I hold. I've been holding for 2 years now. And it's just a way of giving back to other people in the community and providing a place where men and women can come together to truly learn what their purpose is, learn that they are powerful beyond measure, and to change their mindset to believe in themselves and believe in the God that gave them their purpose. By the time that you are now seeing this recording, this will be my third time actually recording it. So the first time I did it, it was a little too short for the time frame. The second time I did it, I did a little bit better, but the video quality wasn't where we needed it to be. And now here on this third time, I hope everything is right. But, in all things, I believe that with God's timing, it will be made right. And so I just believe, like my brother told me when we were texting earlier, the third time's a charm. And this is going to be the one that truly makes it out to the public, because there's some things that I needed to say to you all and to myself. When Manny had sent the text message after I did the first one and said that, sis, it's good, but, I need you to expound a little bit more. There's some more that you need to get out of it. I really went into my own place of insecurity, because although there was nothing wrong necessarily with the content, he was just pushing me further. I, in my mind, internalized that to believe, well, maybe I'm just not good enough for this. Maybe I'm not the one who needs to share, whatever. And so I almost wanted to tell him no, but I thank him for that, because it's helped to push me beyond my insecurities. It's helped to push me to change my very own thought processes in regards to this. And, just truly believing that God called me for such a time as this. God called me to be able to share with you, to help motivate you, encourage you, and empower you to deal with your very own insecurities. And so let's jump right in and let's talk about insecurity, right? So anytime I do something, I always like to, or if I'm given a topic, I like to look up the word. I want to make sure that I firmly know the definition of that word as I'm getting ready to speak on it. Because so many times we can think we know a word, but we don't really know what all it fully encompasses. And so when I looked up the definition of insecurity, it stated uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, a lack of confidence. And I believe that many of us have dealt with this in some way, shape, or form. No matter what your background is, how good or how bad your life has been, there's a moment where you've dealt with some insecurity, some lack of confidence within yourself. And I believe that we have some great examples of this in the Bible, but the one that stuck out to me the most was in Exodus chapter 3, where Moses is having a personal encounter with God, and it's through a burning bush. And so, when I looked at that part of it, Moses is having an encounter with God that no one else has had, in this particular way. And it's so many times where we find ourselves in these special moments that we become fearful, we become anxious, we feel, why would God choose us for this moment, right? And so in this moment, God is telling Moses that he has heard the cries of the people of Israel who have been in bondage and in slavery in Egypt for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so he's basically in this moment talking to Moses and telling him and revealing to him the plan to bring them out of Egypt, as well as his desires and his plans to use Moses to be the one to do it. And so I believe that as Moses was standing there, he was looking at himself, and then he looked at the bush, and he looked at himself, and then he looked at the bush again, and he took another look at himself, and he looked at the bush again, and then he just had this moment where he spoke these words. And in the text it says, he said, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Moses in this instance is showing that he is uncertain of who he is, whose he is and what he is truly capable of doing. And I believe that for many of us, for me, for you, for anyone that you may share this video with, that we have had that moment just like Moses where we are unsure of who we are. And we are unsure of why God would want to use us and why he has called us to do this particular thing. For some of you, it may be going into business. For some of you, it may be going into ministry. For some of you, it may be writing a book. For some of you, it may be praying and interceding on behalf of people. But no matter what it is, we have questioned, why did God call me to do this? Why am I the one that he chose for this? And so for Moses, I think that in this moment, as he's looking at the bush and he's reflecting on himself, he begins to think about his past. In his past, that it hasn't been all good, even though he was raised in Pharaoh's house, because he killed a man. And, oftentimes we will look at our past and say, well, I did this, I lied on somebody. I talked about somebody. I was, a thief, or I was a murderer, or, I had these sexual issues. But God does not disqualify you because of your past. And then I believe that, Moses looked at himself again and he knew that he wasn't the best speaker. He tells God in so many words, I'm not eloquent of speech. I stutter. I can't always get my words out. How could you use me in this? And, maybe it's not your speech, but maybe you feel like, well, I don't have a business background, or, my family has always been poor. My family has always dealt with these issues. I can't write that good. Why would you want to use me as an author, as a blogger, as a musical writer, whatever it is? Why would you want to use me when I'm not that good at it? And lastly, I think he just wasn't sure of himself and wanted God to give the task to somebody else. How many times has God spoken to you and truly told you that you are meant to do this thing that I've called you to do, yet we disqualify ourselves and tell God, just give it to somebody else? And, I've had my moments where I felt just like Moses. Just a year ago, I was up for an opportunity to be a teacher at the collegiate level. And so when I looked at all of the qualifications, I had them. I had the licensure, I had the educational background, I had the years of experience, but the one thing that I did not have was true education experience. Yes, I've done trainings, and yes, I've done workshops and all of those different things, but to be a teacher in the sense of what they were looking for, I did not have that. And so I went through the interview process and felt good about it, but in my mind I began to say, God, I can't do this. I don't have it. If they don't pick me, it's okay, because I don't have what they need. But God had already showed me, he had already told me that the position was mine, that I just needed to trust and believe in him. And so I could have disqualified myself from that blessing, from being able to move into the next step of my purpose and my calling, because I said that I couldn't do it, because I did not match the qualifications that man said that I needed. But how many of you know that it's not about what man says, it's what God says? And so, I just feel like, to come and encourage you that don't disqualify yourself. Stop speaking death to your destiny and your purpose because you go against what God has said. If God comes to you and tells you that you can do it, that's it. His word says that he formed you and he knew you before he even formed you in your mother's womb. That means he knew all of the stuff. He knew everything that you would do in your past. He knew everything that you would say. He knew what your family would be like. He knew that man would say this, but he knew what he would say because he already designed everything for you. And so in the midst of all of the stuff that you're going through, when you're dealing with your own insecurities, I believe God gave us another word, which is found in Philippians 4:6-7, which says, be anxious for nothing. Let's say that again. Be anxious for nothing. When you talk about nothing, that's exactly what it is. Nothing. Not one thing, not one person, not one place, not anything. Absolutely nothing. That means that you have nothing, absolutely nothing to fear. That means you have nothing, absolutely nothing to worry about. That means you have nothing to be in distress about. Why? Because God already knew what it is. He knew he was going to have the right people lined up for you. He knew he had the right tools and skills for people to help build you up in this. He knew that you were qualified for this because he made you for such a time as this. And so he can use everything, every situation, every negativity, every flaw, every issue that you have, because he's going to get the glory out of your life. That's what it's all about. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about what we're supposed to do, but it's also he can get the glory out of our lives. And so today I just wanted to be able to come on and share with you and encourage you to give up your excuses. God does not need your excuses. He just needs your availability. He needs you to say, yes, Lord, here I am, and I can do this because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. He sent his son to die for us, to forgive us of everything that we would do wrong. But not only that, but to give us the strength to move forward and do what he's called us to do, and to give us the exceedingly and abundantly above all that we could ever ask or think. So many times we didn't ask for these things. We didn't ask for the jobs. We didn't ask for the platforms. We didn't ask for the prosperity, but God gave it to us because he wanted us to have it. And so I believe that when you let go of your lack of confidence in the people, or if you let go of your confidence in people, places, and things of this world, that you will be able to grab hold of the confidence that comes from God and God alone. I want to share these affirmations with you, that you are chosen, that you are qualified, that you are ready for all that God has purposed for you to do in your life. And so before I get off of this video, I want to offer a challenge to you. And that challenge is to conquer the battle that is in your mind. Right? As a therapist, I believe in CBT. And so what CBT says in so many simply words is what you think impacts what you feel. And what you feel impacts what you do. And so somewhere along the lines, we've allowed the various situations that have come into our lives to establish some core beliefs. And those core beliefs are negative beliefs about who we are. So that's why we say things like, I'm not worthy, I'm not able to do this, I'm not capable, I'm not strong enough, God didn't mean for this to happen to me. And so when we develop those negative core beliefs, then we feel that in our being. So we begin to feel anxious, we feel depressed, we feel down, we feel unmotivated, we feel just a lack of confidence to go forth and do what God has told us to do. And so then that impacts our actions. And our actions are either to just completely disobey God and not do what he told us to do, or we take matters into our own hands and do something else, trying to replace it with what God has already told us to do. And so I believe that if we can just begin to change our mindset, to truly believe that those affirmations that you speak to and about yourself, the right ones, are true, that will then impact how you feel about yourself. You will have the motivation. You will feel empowered. You will feel encouraged. You will get up in the morning ready to go and pursue your purpose, because your purpose is dependent on you changing those beliefs. Your purpose is dependent upon you changing and having the right mindset to believe that what God has for you is for you. And I believe that when you work and change all of these things, you will see God begin to truly work in your life. So I stand here as a woman who has dealt with her own insecurities. I sit before you and, still working on changing my mindset. But I can tell you with complete honesty and truth that the more I change from myself, the more I trust and believe in God, the more that he continues to work in my life. Let go of your insecurities and become secure in the God who already trusts you, who already believes in you, and who already has given you the purpose to go forth and do it. You just have to believe it yourself. Once again, my name is Jasmine Pope. I am honored to have had this opportunity to speak into you as well as to speak into myself. We are going forward in purpose and destiny because we're letting go of our insecurities and gaining hold of the confidence that God has in us. Be blessed. Hey guys, this is a quick commercial break just to let you know that I wrote a book. Yep, that's right. Your girl Jasmine wrote a book, and it is titled In the Middle, Learning How to Navigate the Process to Purpose. In this book, you get a real life touch with seeing how I've gone through my life and how I was able to use the various experiences that I've gone through to find my purpose, as well as spiritual, inspirational, and motivational messages that will help encourage you to find your purpose and walk fully in that, or take it to the next level. This book is something that you need in your possession. It's for you, it's for your girlfriends, it's for your guy friends, it's for your church groups, it's for whoever. So make sure you go to the website www.blessingsinthesky.com and get your copy today. In the middle, learning how to navigate the process to purpose. You need this. All right, let's get back to the show.
Well, guys, we've come to the end of another episode of Purpose Talk. I'm so glad that you were here with me. Don't forget, we'll be back next Saturday, same time, same place. If you have something that you want to hear on the show, or you have a question that you would like for me to answer on the show, please don't hesitate to put in the comments, direct message me. You can also email me at jlynna@blessingsinthesky.com. Disguise is spelled Disguize. I want to make sure that I am hitting on things that you guys want to hear about. So until next time, I love you all. Have a happy Saturday, a great Sunday, and an awesome week. And I'll see you back here next Saturday. Take care.